This morning, we find ourselves in the community, the picturesque tourist town of Collingwood, Ontario. Not far from my hometown of Wasaga Beach, maybe 15 kilometers from where I live. It's a beautiful little community filled with just beautiful people. It's a great place to be. It's a great place to live. This morning, well, the conditions. Again, it's grey, it's overcast. There's no wind at all. Very, very, very calm. And you know what? For what I'm doing this morning, these conditions could lend themselves quite nicely to the image I'm hoping to capture. Just a little further down towards the end of this particular park, Sunset Point Park, we'll get an amazing view of the Collingwood Marine Terminals. It's that location, it's that iconic, historic building that we're here to photograph, to capture an image, to freeze a moment in time. Hey, we have photographed that particular building, that location, several times over the years. In fact, I have already several images that have been just excellent selling images for me and my business of Gary Clayton Photography. In fact, I'll pop a couple of those images up right now for you to look at. So yes, those images have sold very nicely for me over the years. I've been very happy with their performance. But today, and as always, I just like to get down here, have a look, capture some new, maybe more interesting images of the marine terminals, because it really is an interesting, beautiful location. Okay, let's go see what we can find this morning. So you'll see from the images we popped up there, you'll see straight away those images were closer, right up front, if you will, of the marine terminal. Today we're looking more for something I would consider to be, wow, it's very slippy by the way, lots of high ice on the ground, but something more of what I would consider to be a environmental, if you will, landscape images or image, something that's telling more of a story about the marine terminal itself, something that's telling a story about what's around the marine terminal. Take a little look at what I'm thinking about. So from this particular location, you can see in the distance the marine terminal. Behind it is the ski hills. However, we don't see much of the ski hills today. It's a grey day. The visibility is not the greatest, but we can see a little maybe, and maybe we can work with that in post. To the left, we've got the shoreline of the park. The foreground, we have Georgian Bay itself, part of Lake Huron. So this is more what I'm thinking today, a little bit more again of what I consider an environmental type shot, something that's showing what's going on around the terminal building, and then of course the terminal building itself. So having said that, having found what I believe will be our first location to shoot today, let's set up the tripod, let's get the camera on there. Today we will be shooting again with our Fujifilm X-T2 and a varying different lenses, probably our 18 to 55 to begin with, but we also have our 55 to 200, our longer lens, so we may get a little bit more up and personal with that particular building also with our longer lens. But anyhow, let's get set up, let's take a look, let's have a little fun, let's see what we can capture today. the composition that we have for our first shot this morning. So way in the distance you can see the marine terminal itself, the Collingwood Marine Terminal. To the left, the tall type trees, and in the foreground, as I've said before, Georgian Bay. But let's just take a look on the back of the camera. Let's have a look at what the camera is actually seeing. So first of all, you can see my 9 square grid. You can see my green line that tells me, hey, my camera should be level with the horizon. We have an ISO of, and we just shut down. And you know what? I'm wondering if I just ran out of battery power. So the camera just shut down. Huh. I think it just went into a, you know what, we're going to start that again because I just don't like it at all. Okay, so let's just take a look at what the camera sees. Now, first of all, this is what we're looking at. You can plainly see my green bright line going across the center of the horizon, if you will, of my screen. That tells me that my camera is level in comparison to the horizon. I have my 9 square rule of thirds grid. That helps me with composition, and you can see right on the right third I have the marine terminal. So we're following the rule of thirds. To the left we have the tall trees, in the foreground Georgian Bay itself. In the background, which we really can't see because of it is misty out today, it's grey, everything's white back there, we do have the ski hills. But you know what, we have at ISO 200 f8 we have 1/30th of a second. Let's grab that shot. Now, just for the heck of it, I think I'm going to apply a 2-second timer. Now, I don't really believe that I need the 2-second timer this morning, but we're going to use it anyhow. Let's try to keep everything as sharp as possible. That is my first image of the day. Let's go to what my meter in my camera tells me is 1 stop under. Let's capture an image. Let's go to what my camera tells me is 1 stop over. Let's capture an image. So hey, there we have our first series, if you will, of images in our first composition of the day. Now that was using my 18 to 55mm zoomed in all the way to 55mm. I think I may change now to a longer lens, but before I do that, I am going to play with some focal lengths, go through the focal ranges of this particular lens, maybe all the way down to 18mm. And we'll grab a couple of shots again at varying focal lengths. So let's do that. So we'll grab one more at 55mm. Okay, let's go to all the way into 35mm. Or sorry, all the way out to 35mm. Let's go to 20mm. Now we can see much more to the left. And let's go to 18mm, as wide as this lens will go. But now what we have is, we have the actual marine terminal itself, what we want to photograph right in the middle of a square. And we don't particularly want that. So let's move this now. So this time, we have the marine terminal on the left side, trees, and then lots of open space, lots of negative space. I'm thinking maybe not these rocks right here. Let's remove those rocks simply by, if I can do this with one hand, lift that up slightly. There we go. Pretty much got those rocks out of the way. Let's bring this back around two around there. Let's capture that shot. Now we don't have the rocks. However, we still had automatic focus set. So on that last particular shot, we didn't really give the camera anything to focus on. It simply couldn't lock in to the gray skies above. But that's fine. We're playing, we're having fun. We're capturing a selection of images at different focal lengths throughout the range of focal lengths. Oh, nose is running, cold, fingers are cold. It's about -4 this morning. As you can see, or maybe you can't, but I did show you, but we'll have a look again. Lots and lots of ice. There's ice on the ground, of course, but look at the rocks here. Just take a look down here. If you can hear the ice crunching underfoot, ice formation along the rocks. Very slippy. This is where, in the wind, all the water has been crashing up against the shoreline and freezing. But over here, lots and lots of ice formation. So we're walking, skating, sliding on ice this morning. And yeah, it is a chilly, chilly morning, so the fingers get cold very quickly. Okay, so now, same composition, same lens, 55mm, ISO 200, f8. We've applied the polarizer. We now have a shutter speed, again, what my camera tells me is correctly exposed, 1/15 of a second. No timer. Let's put that back on. I don't know why I turned that off, but I did a moment ago, but we're gonna put it back on. There we go. 2-second timer. There's my image. I'm really enjoying that, and you know what, if we got anything from that particular set of shots, let's pop one of those up right now. Okay, you know what? And because we're here, we might as well, and we have the lens with us, let's pop on our 55-200. We haven't actually done much with that lens at all. In fact, you know what? Since we purchased that lens about a month ago, this will actually be probably only the second time I've used this lens, and the first time was really just in the studio. So this is its maiden voyage out in the field. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what we can capture with that lens. Okay. So we've set up with the 55-200mm lens. We've brought it right in to, not sure what you can see here, but we brought it right into 135mm, f8, 30th of a second, ISO 200, 2-second timer. Wow. One more shot. Just gets more exciting as we go along, really enjoying myself in this location. But you know what? I think I'm gonna head further around. I'm gonna head further around now and maybe get a little bit closer to the marine terminal itself. Let's back up from here. Let's go down there. Boy, the fingers are getting cold. Let's try that. Beautiful homes along the shoreline here at the Sunset Park. In fact, this big one here, it did belong to a local doctor, and I think he's the head of the Collingwood General and Marine Hospital, Dr. Lacey, I believe. I do believe that home was his up until maybe a year or two ago, and then I think he sold that particular property. But yeah, beautiful homes through this parkland, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, we're going to head round, as I said, a little closer to the other side of this little bay area. So it's about 2 or 3 kilometer hike to get there. So we're just going to get into that right now. That gives us the opportunity to warm up their fingers a little bit, because man, they're getting cold. Okay, let's go. Now, it wasn't long ago, just a couple of years really, the property we're on now was really all part of what was called the shipyards, the Collingwood shipyards. And until 1985, they built lake and ocean going freight ships at the Collingwood shipyards. But in 1985, it closed. Today, it's condos, it's homes, beautiful homes, by the way. But right at the end of this street is the Collingwood Marine Terminal. So we are now working our way over to the other side from where we were about 3.5 kilometers ago. So yeah, we're going to head past these cars ahead of us, which are on the left. We're going to get right down by the waterfront. It's exactly the same location where I did shoot this particular building, this Collingwood Terminal building, that created the images that have sold so well for me. So, seeing we're here, the light is changing. We've got a nice brightness now behind the marine terminal. That could be interesting. So let's go take a look. Every day, every hour, every moment is different, even at the same location, because light is constantly changing. So even though I've shot this location several times, I will come back again today and shoot it again, because it could be a totally different image than the others I've shot before. And again, that's simply due to changing light. Okay, let's work our way down there. We're set up on the tripod right down by the water's edge. Just take a look. Ice, a little bit of open water along the shoreline, ice. So we've got ice in the foreground. We've got a little bit of an island in the midground. We've got the terminal building in the background. We're getting some really interesting colors in the sky now. We've got a brightness behind the terminal, and then a little higher we've got a deeper gray. Absolutely beautiful. So this is our composition. This is what we're looking at if we can see this on the back of our screen. We have a 2-second timer set. We have ISO 100 f8. It's given us 1/200th of a second. There is that first shot. Now, we have been shooting all morning in Provia. That is Fujifilm's, or one of Fujifilm's film simulations. But let's go to Velvia. Velvia is going to give us a little bit more of a punchy kind of film image, maybe a little more saturated and so on, although we're dealing primarily with whites and grays. So there's really nothing to punch, but that's okay. Let's try it. Let's just see what happens. Interesting. Let's take another look at Astia Soft. Let's see what that gives us, because I don't know. And let's see what else we've got to play with here. Wow, classic chrome. Hey, let's do that. Why not? Let's go with a nice kind of monochrome in a black and white, if you will. Wow, there's an image. Interesting. Wow, pro negative. Let's try one. Wow, as you can see, we're having lots of fun here today. Wow. Beautiful location, and it's an absolutely gorgeous day. I love the shades of gray. I really, really do. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to play around a little bit more here. We're going to see what else we can capture from this particular location. But believe it or not, time is moving on already, and I really have to get going. So I'm going to play around here a little bit, and then I think I'm going to pack up. We've got quite a few kilometers to get back to where we parked the car this morning. So we're going to hike back there. We're going to head back to the studio. Of course, as always, we're going to download this information into Lightroom. We're going to edit these images over a cup of coffee. We're going to sit back. We're going to see what we've got today. Thank you for joining me this morning. It's Gary here, Gary Clay Photography. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And hey, we will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.